Welcome, I'm Lauren from Zestful Kitchen, and welcome to Everyday Gourmet, where I share realistic recipes for the avid home cook using fresh ingredients and global flavors. Today I'm gonna make one of my favorite side dishes and also one of your favorite side dishes. I don't know. Today I'm gonna show you how to make my cauliflower gratin. It's one of my most popular recipes during the holidays, and for good reason. It's creamy, it's cheesy, it's cozy, and it's so easy to make. And it's also really beautiful. You need a 2-pound to 2.5-pound head of cauliflower, so large. So she's just under 2.5, so it's perfect, because once we take off the greens, she'll probably be around 2. We're gonna cut this into 1-inch florets. So if you don't want to do that prep, and you're trying to make your Thanksgiving easier, you can certainly buy florets already prepped. Just make sure you have 2 pounds. And then I like to go from the bottom and split it. It'll naturally split where it wants to. So I kind of do that and then crack it open. And then you can cut out the core. So I'm just gonna cut it into a triangle. Now we can cut these into florets. The nice thing about cauliflower and broccoli is that you don't need to really do a whole lot of cutting. If you just let the tip of your knife kind of crack it open, it will break where it wants to into florets. So it makes, it doesn't look like it makes less of a mess, but it does make less of a mess. All right, so we're going to quickly steam the cauliflower, and we're gonna actually use the microwave to do it. It's a really easy method for steaming. So we're gonna add some salt. We're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon, and then just toss it so you get salt on it all. And then we'll cover it with either a plate, or you can do plastic wrap. I take my plate and I just put it on top. We're gonna put this in the microwave for 2 minutes, and then we're gonna stir it, and then we're gonna do it for another 4 to 5, just until it's crisp tender. So in she goes. Gorgeous. So the goal with this is that it's not completely steamed, because it's going to get baked. And so you don't want it to get super soft in the oven. You just want to jumpstart the baking. It's also going to remove some of that moisture so you don't water down your gratin. So it's kind of a balance. Perfect. Crisp, tender. Oh, shoot. So these will be on standby. So the next thing we can do is dice up an onion. Just need a yellow onion and then a couple garlic cloves. And we'll dice up the onion and mince the garlic. Hello. There's some nail polish in there. Oh, there it is. And then we can mince up our garlic. You can use a garlic press for this, or you can mince it by hand. I'm just gonna do it by hand because I don't want to dirty my garlic press. And then we're gonna grate some cheese to have that prepared. So for this, I'm using Gruyere and Parmesan. The combination just creates a really savory, really nutty balance of flavors. If you don't want to use Gruyere, because Gruyere can be kind of pricey, you can also use an aged white cheddar. You could use smoked Gouda. You could also do an aged Gouda. So the options are there, but a Gruyere is classic for a gratin. And I'm using my favorite thing, you know, and we're just gonna grate it. If you don't want to do a cup measurement, you can do it just 2 ounces. You can weigh it. The nice thing about Gruyere is that it's really melty and soft, and so it's gonna add some nice cheesiness. And then we'll do some Parmesan. I'm gonna melt half of our butter, so 2 tablespoons, in a skillet over medium. Now we can add in our onions and garlic. We're just gonna cook until they're just starting to soften. We don't need them to have too much color. It'll be about 5 minutes. I have 1.5 cups of whole milk, and I'm just gonna microwave it for 30 seconds, just so it's warm, not cold. That will make sure that we make a sauce that doesn't seize when we add it to the pan. It'll be nice and silky and smooth. Yum. Yeah, that's good. Not hot, just warm. Okay, now these are softened, so I'm gonna add in our flour. I also have some salt, some black pepper, and some cayenne. All right, and then we're gonna cook that for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna add in to that some grated fresh nutmeg. Basically what we're doing here is we're just cooking out the raw flavor of the flour, toasting a little bit. All right, I'm gonna slowly add in our milk, and you wanna do it in small increments. This will just ensure that no lumps of flour remain. If you put it all in all at once, what will happen is the moisture will oftentimes kind of trap dry flour into pockets. And so you don't have a nice roux, you have kind of a chunky roux. So by doing it slowly, you ensure a smooth sauce. There we go. Okay, it looks good. Splattering it everywhere. We're gonna let this cook just until it's thickened, and then off heat we'll stir in the cheese. All right, so she's thickened up, and basically what you want is it to look like a cheese sauce even before you've added the cheese. We've taken some moisture out of the cauliflower, but not all of it, so during baking it will loosen up a little bit. So we're gonna add in all of our Gruyere, and then we're gonna add half of our Parmesan. We're gonna reserve the other half for the topping. Okay. Oh, yum. Looks delicious. Oh. It's so cheesy. This would be a great base if you wanted to make a broccoli gratin. You could do it with this as well. Okay, we're gonna put in our cauliflower. Before we put this in the pan, I'm gonna spray our pan with some nonstick spray. You can also butter the pan. You've already got butter out. You could totally do that. But I'm just gonna do this because it's easier. Okay. I do want to try this before we put it in there. Make sure it's salted enough. Mmm. Yum. Mmm. The cayenne adds a kick. That will tame a little bit with the breadcrumbs in there. But if you don't want spice, you can leave that out. There we go. Ooh. Get all that cheese sauce in there. We're gonna make a really simple, cheesy, buttery topping. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme. You can also do dried. You could use 1 teaspoon of dried or 2 teaspoons of fresh. These stems are so tender, some of them might get in. Most thyme stems will be tough, so I wouldn't get those in there. Then we're just gonna chop it. And add it to our bowl with the cheese. We're gonna do half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. If you need to be gluten-free, you can certainly use those. They, I think, taste the same and have the same texture. I'm gonna add in some melted butter. I'm gonna stir that together. Just a little bit of black pepper and then just a touch of salt. Because the Parmesan is already gonna add some salt, so you just need a little bit. The nice thing about this side dish is so many components of it can be prepped in advance. The cauliflower can be steamed like 3 days in advance. The cauliflower and the cheese sauce can be assembled in the baking dish 3 days in advance. And then all you'd have to do is make the breadcrumb topping and put it in the oven. So it's a great make-ahead dish for Thanksgiving. It also is a great dish to be reheated. So if you don't want it to be in the oven while everything else is baking during the holidays, you just put it in to reheat at the end. So it's a nice one to have on hand. All right, I'm gonna give it a try. It's everything you love about mac and cheese, but made with cauliflower. It's a perfect vegetable side dish for Thanksgiving. The cauliflower comes out still crisp, tender. It's not mushy at all. So there's a really nice texture to it. Plus those breadcrumbs on top just make it really unforgettable. It's absolutely delicious. You can find the recipe below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll be here to answer them. And I hope you meet me back here next week for another Everyday Gourmet. Out. What do we think?